പുതിയ കഥകൾ തേടി അവർ ഒത്തിരി ദൂരം സഞ്ചരിച്ചിരുന്നു. അവർ വരുന്നതും കാത്ത് കുറേ കുഞ്ഞു കണ്ണുകൾ ആകാംക്ഷയോടെ പുറത്തേക്ക് നോക്കി നിന്നിരുന്നു. ഒരിക്കലും കെടാത്തൊരടുപ്പ് ജാലവിദ്യ കാട്ടി ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചിരുന്നോ അവരുടെ അത്ഭുത കളികൾ? ഇല്ല. ആരും അറിയാതെ ജാലം കാട്ടാൻ അവർ മിടുക്കരായിരുന്നു. അവരുടെ വിദ്യകൾ ഇല്ലാതായപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. അവരുടെ കഥയിടങ്ങളിലേക്കുള്ള വഴികൾ അറിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞതായി നടിച്ചില്ല. അറിയാ കഥകൾ കത്തുകളായി അവരെ തേടി വന്നില്ല. അങ്ങനെ നിഴൽ മാത്രമായി ശ്വാസം മുട്ടി ജീവിക്കുന്ന ഒരുപാട് അത്ഭുത മനുഷ്യരുണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ചുറ്റും. നമ്മുടെ ഒരു വാക്കോ നോക്കോ കിട്ടിയാൽ പഴയ ജാലവിദ്യക്കാരാകാൻ കെൽപ്പുള്ള മനുഷ്യർ. അവർ നമുക്ക് തന്ന കരുതലിൽ കുറച്ചെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് തിരികെ കൊടുക്കാം. നമുക്കും അത്ഭുതങ്ങൾ കാട്ടാനാകും. ജീവിതം തന്നെ ഒരു ജാലവിദ്യയല്ലേ?
ഹലോ അമ്മ.
What does health mean to you? For many people, it is the foundation to do the things in life they love, to enjoy the company of others, to work, to play, to learn, to laugh. Health is life. So many people have lost their health in the past year, but they have lost so much more: their jobs, their ability to see their families, to travel, to live life. And more than 2.7 million of our sisters and brothers have lost their lives, and we have lost them. The hard truth is that some of those people died simply because they could not get the care they needed because of where they live or how much they earn. Inequality is not a new problem, but COVID-19 has brought it into sharp focus. The pandemic has pushed an estimated 120 million people into extreme poverty. It has significantly increased gender inequalities, with more women than men leaving the labor force. And as we speak, rich countries are vaccinating their populations while the world's poor watch and wait. Health inequalities are not just unfair, they make the world less safe and less sustainable. So, as they build back from COVID-19, it's vital for all governments to invest in better health services and remove the barriers that prevent so many people from using them, so more people have the chance to live healthy lives.
Welcome, and thanks a lot to those who already watched our previous session, this opening session of this annual event of the Health for All Film Festival. You heard the Director General, Dr. Tedros, mentioning the winners. So now it's the first award ceremony. And for newcomers who didn't watch this opening session, I remind you that we have a game ongoing throughout the event today, which is based on a simple question. Do you like to tell positive stories? To know more about this, please come back later to our YouTube publication of this event and watch the opening session, during which we explain how the game can be played and how you can share your positive stories about health. So it's time now for the first award ceremony of this second edition of the Health for All Film Festival, with our category dedicated to better health and well-being, one of WHO's major global public health goals, in line with WHO's constitution, considering that health is not just the absence of diseases, but it has to be considered as a better stage of well-being that anyone should be able to access in his or her living conditions. I'm just summarizing. You can check the constitution of the WHO online and on the website, and you would have the exact wording of this constitution. In addition to this award ceremony, in the coming few hours, we have other award ceremonies which will be dedicated to other categories of the competition. So please look at the full agenda in our festival webpage. You can see the link appearing on the screen right now. And many thanks to spread the word about these ceremonies so that many people could join during the day. So now it's time to present the guests of this ceremony. And first of all, I would like to introduce our jurors for this category of the competition. And they are here with us online. So I have to explain to you that in this jury team, we have external jurors, external to WHO, I mean, and in fact, these persons are advising the Director General, and we have also senior WHO experts who are part of the jury team. So we have Eugenio Derbez, actors from Mexico, who is part of this jury team, and he's represented today by Javier Williams, executive producer working with him. Javier, are you with us at the moment?
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
Hello to everybody.
Hello, Javier. Would you say a couple of words about your participation in this jury and who you are?
As you said, I'm an executive producer working in Los Angeles with Eugenio Derbez and his production company. And we were very happy at watching the films that we got to watch and deciding on who would be getting this prize, recognizing the efforts and the wonderful stories that they were telling us in those films.
And Eugenio, who wasn't able to be here today because of his previous commitments, wanted me to share a message that he recorded for this occasion.
Hello everyone, I really wish I could be there to celebrate all the hard work and dedication of so many talented filmmakers. But unfortunately, I'm on location working on my next project. However, I do wish to send my deepest heartfelt congratulations to all the participants and of course to the Grand Prix and Special Prize Health Educational Film for the Youth winners. My business partner Javier and I, we really enjoyed viewing all the selected films in the Better Health and Well-Being category. We believe that the messages portrayed in these films are very important and very timely. Being able to promote health and well-being through our craft is a wonderful opportunity and a great responsibility too. So keep creating new stories and filming new projects. I hope to see more of your work in the future. Gracias, saludos, and bye.
Thank you, Eugenio. I was calling you Eugenio, you see, Javier. So thank you to both of you. Sonia Lohman from USA is a documentary film writer and director. Sonia, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
Hello,
Happy to be
Sonia.
here.
Okay, please introduce yourself and how you joined this jury. You were a winner last year, and I propose to you to be in the jury this year. So a few words to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, so I'm Sonia Lohman. As mentioned, I'm a director in the US. I work actually full-time with a humanitarian relief organization called International Medical Corps, so I definitely have a passion for the work that the WHO does around the world, and we similarly do, disaster relief work around the world. I also am a director. I've done 2 feature films in the U.S. on racial and social justice. And then last year, as Giles mentioned, I submitted to the WHO my film about midwives in South Sudan, which has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. And that film won the grand prize of that category. So it was an honor to be asked to be part of the jury and to be able to see this incredible, talent and storytelling that was submitted and watch all these incredible films. And we're excited to present the winners today.
Thank you, Sonia. And we'll come back with you for discussion with our winners, with both of you. And I am here with Dr. Maria Nera, Director of the Department of Environmental Health. Maybe I'm summarizing your department name. Maria, would you like to introduce yourself a little more, please, and your participation in this?
Hi, Gilles. Thank you very much. Essentially, what I am, I'm a public health officer. I'm somebody convinced, committed, and passionate about public health and well-being. Formally, I'm the director of the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Health here at the World Health Organization. And for me, it has been an amazing experience because, you enter into another world. Creativity, artists, and all of these films have been a fantastic experience for me. And really, I appreciate to be part of this. So thanks for inviting me, Jill.
You're welcome. You're welcome, all of you. So we'll give 3 prizes during this awards, this first award ceremony. And one will be the Grand Prix for this category, Better Health and Wellbeing. We have a Student Film Prize, which was chosen from the overall shortlist of 56 films selected. And another special prize chosen from also the full shortlist. This is the prize dedicated to health educational film for the youth. And it's a way to highlight that our film festival is not only a tribute to WHO, the tribute that WHO can do to arts and to filmmaking, but it will be an occasion also to show that it's about health promotion, health education, how the films can be used, especially for the youth in this case, for creating awareness. So we are going to have a special panel discussion on this, and I'm going to speak to you about that a bit later. So I think it's time now, Maria, maybe to offer a prize. And let's start with a Student Film Prize. So I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Kim. Kim, could you help me, please, Kim? How do your second...
Hyejin.
Sorry?
My name is Hyejin Kim.
Hyejin. Okay.
Hyejin.
Kim
Yes.
Hyejin. Okay, so welcome, Kim Hyejin. So, as Dr. Tedros announced during our previous session, you are the winner of a Student Film Prize for a film called Cephalea, a film you produced in Albania. It's a fiction that you created. And could you give us first feedback on your impression with this prize, please?
I'm very glad and honored to have this prize, to be the winner of the prize, the special student prize. And I'm especially happy because thanks to this prize, my film can be shown to many people, and this subject about the environmental pollution in Albania and can be more aware of to the people. So I'm very glad. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So we are going now to have Maria Nera offering you a present.
This is my pleasure on behalf of the World Health Organization to offer you this prize of the Health for All Film Festival. And we recognize the fantastic work that you did. Your film is really very, very powerful. It's done with a lot of commitment and passion, and you deserve this award on the health and well-being category. So thank you and big congratulations. This is our little Oscar. And I will say maybe even more important than an Oscar, because it's about health and well-being. So I cannot imagine anything more important than that. To you, thank you very much,
Yes.
and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can you take it?
Yes.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Kim. So, Maria, before we go to the other prize, Kim is going to have a panel discussion with our colleagues, a colleague in Euro and the European Office of the World Health Organization, and with some other youth delegates from the Netherlands. I think it would be important that you would give feedback about the topic. We are going to have another prize also on pollution. What is WHO's action, and how do you recognize that this topic is really important for WHO?
Yes, Jill. The film is really particularly strong, and you have to follow until the end, because it describes the situation where many children, unfortunately, are living today in the middle of pollution. It looks like human beings these days, we pollute everything we touch. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. And this is causing more than 25% of the global burden of diseases these days. So we need to work on the environment, making it healthier, because this is the best way to protect our health. So thank you for this film, because it contributes very much to that.
Thank you, Maria. So if you want to watch this film and to listen more about what Kim has to say about her production and how some other young people would react to such a story, I invite you to watch the next session of this today's event on the film festival, which is dedicated to health promotion, health education for the youth. This film will be shown there. So thank you again, Kim, for being with us, receiving your trophy right now, and wish you a good conversation in the next session.
Thank you.
Now, we are going to have the Grand Prix for the Better Health and Well-being category of this Health for All Film Festival. And I have to welcome now the winner, Jorik Dozy. Jorik Dozy, are you with us?
Hey, hello. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, as Dr. Tedros announced during the previous session, you have won the Grand Prix for Better Health and Well-being for a film which is called The Journey of Hope, that you filmed in India. And you presented that, you are yourself from the Netherlands, and you presented that with Shen Lin from Malaysia. So would you give us a first reaction from you, and you both, and how you decided to produce this film?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you so much for this incredible prize. I co-founded a production company called Studio Birthplace, and we focus on ecological and humanitarian storytelling. So to be part of a festival like this and to have our story and our film be recognized by an organization such as the World Health Organization is really, it's an incredible honor for us. And seeing the films in the festival, I can only imagine how tough it is to choose a winner, because I feel all of the stories in this festival are important, and I just feel very honored and glad that hopefully through this platform and through this we get a little bit more exposure on the issue and on the topic, and more people can know about it.
Yes, and we are going to develop that a little bit with you and with our jurors right now, and I hope it's indeed the start for you to have even more people interested by the topic you raised. So, Maria, that's the time now for our second trophy.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Jill. I'm getting used to that. It's really a privilege. I feel like in the Oscar ceremony here, and the Oscar goes to, and it is my pleasure to this journey of hope, to give you the prize of WHO on the Health for All Film Festival, Health and Well-being. You really deserve it. I hope that the next one will be a real one that you can collect in our premises, or even at the Oscar ceremony. Why not? So thank you very much. This is the beginning. I'm sure you have more awards. So please take it. It's for you.
Thank you so much.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you, Maria, to present like that, because it's indeed not easy. We would love to be in a movie theater and to do this ceremony where you would be invited and to join us, both jurors and winners. And we have to do all this online. So thanks for presenting like that. And now I think we should watch your film. And so and we'll speak about it after the screening. So let's watch The Journey of Hope, a story happening in India.
सपना, हमने तुम्हें ये नाम दिया था क्योंकि हम चाहते थे कि तुम अपने सारे सपने पूरे करो। पर तुम लड़ रही हो इस कैंसर से। मेरी बेटी, तुम इसे हराओगे।
Somewhere in the fog I heard her cry. It kept me up for hours, haunts me every night. Screaming through my veins, the fire spreads. Fill me up with poison, dark clouds overhead, I'm soaking wet. I'm hurt you didn't know. But there's no pretty way to tell you so. I'm tired, so tired I'm letting go. I've been burning flies to let you know. Time is up, time has flown. Time has flown. Here she comes, she lays beside my head. She holds me through my winter in this awful bed. Softly in my ear she casts her spell. Fuck this cursed cancer, send it straight to hell. She knows me well. I'm hurt, this body's wearing thin. A beautiful mistake I'm living in. I'm tired, sometimes I fantasize. They push me out to sea, coins on my eyes. Family, friends, say goodbye. Say goodbye. I'm hurt, not hurt enough to die. See, I was born to rage, born to fight. I'm tired, not tired enough to sleep. So devil on my chest, don't sing to me, but take my breath, let me be. Oh, let me be.
You just watched The Journey of Hope, the Grand Prix of the Health for All Film Festival for the category Better Health and Well-Being. And now we, as you noticed in the beginning of the conversation, we have the jurors and the winner who is here with us. I would like to give immediately the floor to Sonia Lohman, who is our external juror in this category. And so that Sonia, you would share with the winner your impression for this film. And after that, we'll have Javier and Maria also sharing their experience in the jury team. Sonia, the floor is yours.
Yeah, wow. I mean, just everybody saw how incredibly emotional, impactful that is. I mean, it definitely brought me to tears, and just congratulations on making such a beautiful film. I mean, we were absolutely united in just how gorgeously it's shot, first of all. So just from a technical standpoint, from a filmmaking standpoint, I mean, you're incredibly talented cinematographer, really, really, really beautiful. And then we thought it was just so creative and clever to just use this song as kind of the backdrop, this really emotionally impactful song, to create kind of like a very highly emotional, highly stylized sort of music video that has such a strong socially conscious message. So I've never seen anything quite like that. It was just really stunning. As someone who really loves music and also creates through the lens of, you know, always thinking about songs and what song am I going to use in a film, it really drives me too. Just being driven forward by that song, but then having a very clear narrative arc through it where you really tell this story visually, and just such again emotionally impactful, touching, devastating story that really stays with you. I mean, we were all just so affected by it, and it really, really stays with you, and you really remember it. And we hope that everybody sees it. You know, we hope that this helps really get it out there, because it's such an important film. And congratulations on making such a beautiful, beautiful project that really needs to be seen by so many people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you have a question, Sonia, for Mr. Jorik? Jorik, do I pronounce your name correctly?
Jorik. Yeah, Jorik, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I think I mispronounced your name. Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, I would be curious of what you kind of, how you came across this story, this particular young girl, and then why you made that choice to tell it through sort of a kind of a music video type format, and the song. And did you know the song, or did you meet the girl and then you know the song? How did that come together for you?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, it's a film that really kind of bridges the gap between music video and documentary. And the project actually came about through the artist, Simmel, who's a singer-songwriter based in America. And he lost someone close to him to cancer. And he wrote a song to kind of deal with those emotions, which is the song Flags, which is what you hear in the film. And he reached out to us to make a video about showing someone going through dealing with cancer and suffering from cancer, but in a very different scenario. So he didn't want to tell the story from kind of a more maybe Western-based point of view, where you have there's healthcare for most people. So we stumbled on this story of the cancer train, the Indian cancer train, and this is a story that grew and grew more as we researched more about it, and we tried to kind of figure out how we can tell this such a large story of this region in India, which is kind of the region in between Punjab and Haryana in the northwestern side of India. And this is known as India's cancer belt. And there's a train that goes through this region and ends in Bikaner, this city, Bikaner, where there is a cancer hospital that offers basically free or very subsidized treatment and diagnosis for underprivileged patients. So it's this really big story that we kind of tried to see how can we put that in the music video. So we tried to find a cancer patient who kind of came from this region, took this cancer train, and we found a local producer, a line producer called Purvi Magwana, who is an amazing producer, and she basically went to the hospital and found Sapna, the girl that you see in the film. And she actually really showed us the full story through what she was going through. Her father is a farmer, and she's from a very small village. Her family lives on about $1 a day. And most experts and research states that actually the cause for this high increase in cancer in this region is due to the overuse of pesticides in food production. And the overflow of all these pesticides kind of ends up in rivers and flows downstream through all these villages that people use for their drinking water and their washing. So they get exposed to all these chemicals. And Sapna is from one of these villages, and her father actually is a farmer who uses these pesticides on the land, which could indirectly kind of cause her illness. So it was a very, the story was there. So we tried to see if we could follow Sapna. We spent time with her and on her journey to the hospital in Bikaner, which is about an 8-hour overnight journey to get her treatment. From this hospital. And so that's kind of how the whole project fell apart. Long story, but
thank you, Jorik, for explaining to us how you came to tell this story. This is really much about the film festival to explain and to encourage people to tell stories about health. And the way you explain how you came to that is really interesting. I would like Javier Williams, please share your experience as in the jury team. And you have also another question for Jorik?
Yes, of course. First of all, congratulations, Jorik. It's a wonderful short film, a wonderful story. And after Eugenio and I were watching all of these films, this is one that I can confide to you that we've shown to many people, and we definitely want to keep showing to many people just because of the way that it connects to the story that you want to tell and how it connects to everybody. And you're right, there were many options and it was really, really hard to choose. So I think it's good for me to just have very clear in our minds what were the three aspects that when Eugenio and I were watching the films stood out in your film, and that's why we recommended it for this prize. First of all, as Sonia was saying, the cinematography and the technical aspect of it is beautiful. It's beautifully shot. The colors are wonderful. The pace is great. The lenses that you use are the perfect ones to tell the story. So the technical aspect was one. Second of all was the story. All of that you were talking about, the story of Sapna and how she's trying to manage her disease in this place in the world that is literally not prepared for that, is such a strong story that we really felt that it was something that should be heard and seen. But third of all, and probably for us it was the most important aspect, was the emotional drive that your story brought to us. It was a story that connected with us in a very strong way through the emotion that, you know, the combination of the images, the story, and the music obviously was crafting in this beautiful story. So we know that sometimes you watch foreign or faraway problems and it's really hard to connect because it's not your reality. If you don't see that kind of problem every single day, if you don't take that train, if you fortunately don't have anybody suffering from that disease, it can seem as a very, very, far away problem. And I think, or we thought, that your film was very, very good in bringing that to us, bringing it built around a story with a very digestible form, a beautiful song that, is wonderful in its own right. So we definitely love that. And obviously that story with a twist, as you were saying, that at the end of this story narrated through a music, you end up understanding that it's the activities that her father is doing that probably caused her own disease, which is just, in terms of cinematography and storytelling, it's just drama at its purest. And we thought that it was a great film that was, building a wonderful story that should be seen and heard throughout the world. So congratulations for that, Jorik.
Thank you. It's actually, just quickly interrupt. It's actually so, it's so unfortunate because, of course, her father doesn't have an alternative way of living and providing for his family. So being in the situation that he's in, that's the best income that he can make, and that's really the only job for him in the region. And that has a chance of actually making the people around him in his village sick, and most likely made his daughter sick. So it's just a terrible situation that they should really not be in. And the overuse of pesticides is mainly caused because it's not regulated. The farmers are not taught the proper kind of way of handling them, which causes all these issues. So there's definitely programs and NGOs that are trying to fix that, but it's a tough situation for a lot of them. Yeah, especially now with COVID. I can't even imagine. It's a hard region to be in.
Absolutely, it's a horrible paradox because as you're saying, that's probably the only job that her father can do, and it's just a bad circle to be around. No, there's no other thing that at this moment they can do. So it's great that this type of projects, and specifically your short story, it puts a spotlight in that problem.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you to both of you. Indeed, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That's exactly the kind of discussion we were hoping to have between jurors and winners. So it's really great to listen to you both. We have Dr. Maria Nera with us, and Maria, you as director of Department of Environmental Health. We have had the Student Film Prize about pollution due to oil. We have now this Grand Prix linked to pollution due to pesticide. What is your comment as WHO director on these issues regarding the danger of pollution for health?
Yeah, this film, Jill, and the previous one raised awareness about the problem of toxic chemicals and other substances that are polluting our daily life and causing a lot of disease. Unfortunately, as you rightly say, it's not the farmers' fault. I mean, it's the lack of a coherent and good politics to make sure that we are able to have a sustainable agricultural production or reducing the access to all of those toxics. This is the work of WHO. We identify the toxic chemicals, we inform the authorities, and we put in place the systems for the governments to take measures to avoid that dangerous exposure. But there is a lot of work to do, as you can imagine. So thank you for raising awareness of that, and hopefully that will contribute to our work, Gilles, with governments.
Yeah, there's another point which is not only environmental, but on the access to healthcare, because we see in this film that this girl has to travel by train quite far away from the specialized doctors or nurses and so on to treat her. So this is telling something about universal health coverage and access to quality care. Would you comment on that?
I think this is part of our work. The first part will be to prevent. So ideally, we would like this girl not to have this problem because we could avoid exposure to this toxic chemical. And the second part is when you develop a disease, obviously the message is very clear, universal health coverage. So everybody should have access to free, of cost, and affordable, if not, healthcare, because this is the only way as a society that we will be successful. We need to protect our people, no other solution.
Thank you, Maria. So thanks to the three of you. We have another prize to announce in this ceremony. So Jorik Dozy, congratulations again for your film. Thank you for what you shared with us during this discussion about how you made it and how you choose the topic. We wish you a huge success with this film and especially about raising awareness on such issues. Congratulations again. Thank you for being with us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So we have now the special prize for the health educational film for the youth, which has been announced by Dr. Tedros. So you know that this prize was won by Anita Abada for a film called Efun, flesh between brackets. It's a film, a story in Nigeria about female genital mutilations. So Anita, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening.
Yes. Nice to hear you, Anita. So, what's your first impression?
My pleasure.
Yeah, what's your first impression receiving this prize?
I'm really, really excited, and I feel so honored to have my film Ifun selected for the special prize because it's actually a story that means so much to me, and I believe it's a story that would get across to so many young women and youth out there, and so I feel really honored to be selected for this prize.
This film was in the same category, better health and well-being, because when we say better health and well-being, we don't speak only about environmental issues. We speak also about gender issues, gender equity, and we speak about all the conditions in the society that could contribute to a better well-being. So social determinants of health. This kind of thing. So I wanted to give this precision before Maria would offer you a present, Anita. So your turn, Maria, please.
Dear Anita, let me give you this special prize. This is the trophy that we are presenting to you on behalf of the World Health Organization and on this film festival, Health for All. You really deserve it. Your film is absolutely terrible, I have to say. People have to watch it. As a woman, as a doctor, as someone who has been working in places where, unfortunately, the female genital mutilation is still occurring, I really congratulate you for doing this really dramatic story. I hope we can celebrate one day with this prize the fact that not anymore will be practiced. So let's have as well some hope, and thanks for putting on the table such a terrible topic for everybody to be aware what is happening every day to many girls around the world. Thank you, Anita. Please take it. Come on, goes to you.
Thank
it's heavy.
You so much. Thank
wow.
you.
I keep it for you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, Maria, I remember in the jury deliberation, you were that's a topic you're very concerned about. And
it's just a guilt that is difficult to imagine. In 2021, we are still facing this type of public health issue and challenge. And as a society, it's difficult to imagine that this exists, but it's the reality. And again, so much to do about this.
So I think the audience need to see the film also, because now you have received your trophy. So let's watch your film, Anita Abada, Efun, that we will comment a little more after the screening. Let's watch the film.
EA says every girl must pass through this rites to become a woman. It's his tradition, and girls who go through it are clean, beautiful, and become real women.
It is time.
Can I play with them just once more?
No, you are no longer like them. Today you become a woman.
I don't want to do this.
You don't have a choice. Don't worry, you won't see it.
The last time EA prepared someone for this rite, it was my sister, Osayi. I remember Osayi telling me what it was like. She said it is like a journey to hell and back, even though none of us has been there before. A part of her was cut away. She never got better. She died. EA said it is God's will.
They'll be here soon, okay? Don't worry, it will be quick.
I don't want to be like Osai. What if I have a choice?
You know, choice isn't one of the luxuries of every woman.
I want to be a woman, but I also want to be able to make choices.
You have just watched EFUN, the special prize for health educational film for the youth, attributed by the Health for All Film Festival for its second edition. I have Sonia Lohman in the jury with us, and I would like you, Sonia, to also comment this film. You have also directed films in Africa, you know a little bit, certainly Africa. Do you have a question also for Anita Abada and a comment on her film?
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations, Anita. It was really stunning. It was actually the first film I watched, and it really stuck with me. I kept thinking about it even as I was watching the other ones. It really stuck with me. You know, as, again, someone who's worked in the NGO space for a really long time, and as Maria mentioned, it's sort of shocking that this still is such a pervasive issue, and a lot of people don't know about it. So on the first hand, it's just, you know, again, the awareness raising is really important. So just even knowing that is still happening so widely. But as somebody who actually did really know a lot about it in a theoretical sense and has studied, you know, I'd spent a lot of time working on women's rights and has sort of read a lot about female genital mutilation, that your 3-minute film did more than any study I could have read, any research I could have done. I mean, it just really made it so much more visceral and emotional. I mean, I was like, you know, gripping the whole time. I mean, it's just to see that brought to life in a sort of a narrative way, in a way that you can connect with this young girl's experience, you know, especially as a woman, like kind of really feeling that very, again, sort of viscerally, was just, I thought was really brilliant and really needed to move the conversation forward, because it's one thing when it's very abstract and it's stats and it's something that's kind of out there, and it's another thing when you are actually like going through the experience of it, you know, with a young girl and really connecting to her experience. So I just wanted to say it was really needed and really impactful, and thank you for making it, and congratulations, and it's well deserved. I think you're very talented and very passionate. So congratulations. I don't know if you want me to ask a question. I know we're kind of running low on time, but you had mentioned a question, or just leave it at that.
Yeah. I have a question to you, Anita, myself. Did you, when you submitted your film, did you think you could have an health educational prize? I mean, did you think your film would be an educational tool for the youth?
Yes, definitely. The major reason I made that film was because I wanted to educate people. I wanted to enlighten people on this practice. And as we all know already, it's very common in Africa, where I come from. It's common in Asia and the Middle East. And it's surprising, like you said, to see that in 2021, girls are still made to go through female genital mutilation. And in as much as a lot of people are not enlightened about the health risk of this, we know that this practice actually causes trauma, psychological trauma. It has physical effects. It has so many health effects on these young children. So the purpose of really making the film is to reach out to communities within Africa, here where I stay, to reach out to communities around the globe, to educate people more on the risk of female genital mutilation through the eyes of a young girl who was made to go through a practice she didn't want to go through. But thankfully, she had a mother who could actually stand by her to say, okay, no, this is the end, because she actually had a child whom she had lost through this practice of female genital mutilation. So I believe if we talk about it more, if we educate people more, and film is a tool for change because it has a wider reach globally. So if we can do this more, I believe we will reach a wider audience.
Thanks a lot, Anita, for your testimony on this. And indeed, we all hope here in the WHO and the jury team that this film is going to be educational not only for the youth and for girls and teenagers, but also for the mothers, because your story shows that the mother is the one standing in front of her daughter to say no. And I guess in Africa it's really a matter of mothers being aware and being engaged, like the one you have shown in your film. So we have to move to the conclusion of this awards ceremony. And the jury team was impressed by the quality of films submitted in this category, better health and well-being, and decided to attribute a special mention. So we are going to end this award ceremony by watching the special mention, which is a film from France called Match. It's about disability. It's about a story, you will see that when you watch it. And it shows also another dimension of better health and well-being, how mental health of persons affected by disabilities and how the people around them can help for better well-being in these conditions. So before we watch a film, I would like the different jurors to give a conclusion on this category and on the film festival itself. Maria, would you give your conclusion, and then we go to Sonia and Javier?
Again, it's for the people working on health, this is a fantastic opportunity to use your talent, your creativity, your innovation, your technique to promote health and well-being and universal health coverage. So thank you very much for using your fantastic brains and creativity to help us. Health is a very good cause, so we have you now on board, and we are very, very proud to create this movement of using films for promoting health. Thank you, Gilles.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks a lot. Javier, last word from you about the festival?
Yes, just very briefly, it was wonderful for Eugenio and me to watch these great films. Congratulations to all the filmmakers that are bringing all of these health issues to the forefront and helping communicate them in the very best way possible. Wonderful films, beautiful films. We definitely would like to keep on watching things that you do in the future.
Thanks a lot, Javier. Thanks. And Sonia, it's your turn.
Yeah, so congratulations again. It's beautiful, beautiful films. And I just want to say how wonderful this festival is. As someone, again, who works every day in this field, just like, Lorena, and just like Giles and just like Maria and everybody else, it's really, really hard to communicate sometimes the urgency of these issues that are really impacting so many individual lives all the time. And it's hard work, and it's hard to move the needle on these seemingly kind of intractable global issues. And so we really, really need talented storytellers like you guys and this platform like the WHO has provided to help communicate these stories, because again, it's so much more emotionally impactful when you can connect to an individual stories, when you can see the humanity behind these issues, and really remember how connected we are and how much we need to stand with and for each other. So continue to continue to make these stories and to continue to raise awareness and use your talents so that, the people who are on the ground doing this work, the NGOs and the international organizations, can have more and more, power to help impact people's lives. You really are the platform and the microphone that's needed for these issues. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much. You mentioned the goal of this festival that the World Health Organization is organizing, so that indeed more and more stories about health and good stories told in different ways, whether it's fiction, movie, documentary, animation films, and we are going to discover more in this event day right now, because we have other sessions. As I mentioned, we have a session right now. You will check the agenda in our webpage, which is appearing at below the screen. But we have this panel discussion about health promotion, health education for the youth, which is going to start soon. And we have other ceremonies coming after that. So please check the agenda and stay tuned. And let's continue to spread the word all together about making films on health issues. Many thanks.
Children are our future. Societies that help their children to achieve their full potential thrive and grow economically. That's why it's so important to protect our children from one of the greatest dangers they face: the toxins and particles in polluted air. Children, our future, crave clean air so they can survive and thrive. Our future craves clean air, but air pollution is increasing. We are facing an emergency. 9 out of 10 children do not breathe safe air. Children are closer to the ground, to car exhausts and indoor smoke. They breathe faster than adults, taking in more of the polluted air. And their developing bodies are more likely to be damaged by the toxins in the air. Every year, 600,000 children die from breathing polluted air. Before a baby takes her first breath, she's being harmed by the toxins her mother is inhaling. Half of all deaths from lung infection in young children in lower middle-income countries are due to air pollution. If that baby survives childhood, the daily damage done to her brain, lungs, heart will limit her chances of growing into a healthy, productive adult. Cognitive damage, lowering of a child's ability to learn, means children exposed to air pollution will struggle at school and fail to reach their full potential. Terrible damage has been done, but it is still not too late to change. By prescribing clean air for children, policymakers can save lives and protect them from the lifelong effects of air pollution exposure. We all have a role to play. Activists, experts, economic and political leaders, and individuals can all take steps to better manage waste, change the way we travel, monitor air quality, and regulate production of pollutants, among many other potential actions. But we have no time to waste. We can and we must act now.
What causes nearly 1 in 8 deaths worldwide? Affects more than 80% of people living in cities, but is often invisible. What leads to more than a quarter of deaths from heart disease, 30% of the deaths from stroke, and kills as many people each year as the number of breaths you take? The answer? Air pollution. Air pollution is the single greatest environmental health risk we all face. It threatens our bodies, our climate, and our future. There are solutions to cleaning our air and cooling our planet. Let's tackle this global health crisis together in order to protect our planet and ensure a healthy future for us all. Join us in breathing life back into our cities.
There are better things than tobacco to take your breath away. Choose health, not tobacco.
Films are a powerful way to raise awareness, improve understanding, and encourage action. So the Health for All Film Festival from the World Health Organization aims to contribute to health promotion and education about health. Now this year, the second year for the festival, we had over 1,200 film contributions from around the world. But there was a concerted effort on behalf of the World Health Organization to put a spotlight on youth, not only as filmmakers, but also as film consumers. Hello, my name is David Barrett, and I work at the WHO Regional Office for Europe, based at UN City here in Copenhagen, Denmark. Now, our discussion for the next 30 minutes revolve around the theme film and art as a way to promote health for youth. I am delighted to be joined by our panel this afternoon. First of all, Femke van Rooij, who is the youth delegate representing the Netherlands at the 2021 World Health Assembly. Femke, welcome.
Thank you, David.
We are also joined by Mina Stanikic, who is a doctor, a health researcher, epidemiologist, and a film critic representing the Dutch Global Health Film Festival, and who is now based in Switzerland. Mina, welcome.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
And joining us from the Republic of Korea is Hae-jin Kim, who is a film director. And I am very happy to repeat the announcement, who is the winner of this year's Student Film Prize at the Health for All Film Festival. Now, I know when it was announced and you were told, what was your reaction? How were you feeling about that?
First of all, I was very glad from that news, and I was very happy because I can let this news know to the people that are participating in the project, in a film residency, the local people who helped me a lot to make this film. So I am very thankful about this news. Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Now, we're going to talk a bit about your film, and I have a whole load of questions about your film.
Oh.
But first of all, we're going to watch the film now, and then afterwards, we have questions for you.
Po hajde më i bitë të hash darkën.
Nuk dua, në pak barku.
Lera o mama se s'do t'haj, jo se s'ka uri. Edhe i ema kur ishte sëmur, hante.
Qupa është sëmur mor bish, ka ditë që nuk po ha.
E shti bëjmë në tani? Qa do bëjmë? Da qëmë në për spitale?
Po në spital të qoj, more.
Po vetë do hargjojmë lek, mama. Sigur se didi. As njeri nuk të shëron këtu.
Ore, po psere kështu do t'a lem në vete?
Pasaj, unë që ditën për një gjë. Me të vdekur e ema, u bë me njëherë sëmur edhe kjo. Qishtë që këpu?
Këtë jo, qashjo kështu.
Pse marvesh?
Evo, bere gati.
Ja dhe pak.
Moj mama, ke marrë gjithë lek borxh me ndonjë vendi? Po mirë, moj mama, ne s'kemi mbaruar akoma me lekët e tjera, më sigurisht e spital. Do fillojmë edhe me këtë tani? Hiqe atë fustan.
Këtë fustan ma ka dhe mamaja.
Do të shkosh në spital ti? Martohu dhe të shon ai pastaj. Unë nuk kam para më gas.
Atëherë unë do iki dhe do punoj vetë.
Po çka kujton ti më vajz? Se është aq kollaj? Po do paguash qeran, dritat, ujë për të ngrënë për të pirë. Dhe pastaj mendon se do të mbeten para për të shkuar nëpër spitale.
Kjo është pirë sëmundja ime, ky vend, kjo jetë, çdo gjë këtu, unë do iki. Dhe po të mos ishim këtu sot, mamaja do ishte akoma gjallë.
Now, I have, as I said before, a whole lot of questions for you about the inspiration for the film and where the idea for the film came from. But I'm going to start from a completely different angle, which is the last shot of the film, which is with the donkey. My question with something like that is because there's obviously this wonderful metaphor which is wrapped up in that. In the process of filmmaking, when you have that particular idea, where did that come from? Was that at the start and then you wrapped the story around it, or were you in the middle of making the film and you thought, I know how we can end this?
So as a matter of fact, I couldn't shoot all the script that I wrote, and we had a very difficult shooting situation. So I couldn't shoot also the part of the script that I couldn't shoot. There was some war stories with the donkeys and the main character, and I couldn't shoot that. But even if I couldn't shoot that, I had these images. So, I mean, I pushed a little bit because I really wanted this at the ending. And I was still thinking that it could be a metaphor, even if I cannot really go until the end. So, I don't know, the story itself of the area could be ended when she fall down, and for me it was a bit too tragic and too hopeless. So I just, as a director, I needed some kind of, I searched for some kind of images that I can savor outside of this very difficult situation, you know. Yes.
Yeah. Now, I know that you were a filmmaker from Korea, but you were
Yes.
studying film in Albania. Is that correct?
Actually, I'm studying in Korea at the Korean National University of Art, and I'm studying film critics, by the way, and in Albania. And I'm living in two countries, in France and in Korea. Now I'm studying in Korea, but I'm also living in France. And when I was in France, I saw this notice, the film residency Barkans Gate, and I applied for it, and I hope, fortunately, I could participate in the film residency so that I can make this film.
Okay. Now, that gets ourselves into Albania and why you were putting the story there and why you were shooting in there. But can I ask what the inspiration was for the film itself? Where did the idea for this come from?
Okay. So what we do in a film residency, we need to make one film, documentary or film in 10 days. And every year it happens in a different city of Albania. And last year it was Fieri. And so I made research what kind of stories I can speak about, social problems and the backgrounds, you know. So I made a research and I found out there is a very big and old oil field just 10 kilometers away from the city Fieri. So, and I also found out that there is a big pollution issue there, oil, soil, and the air. So this is not really good there, the pollution, and also the health problem related to that pollution. And I also read several papers, let's say academical stuff, to know more about this. And one of the papers explains the headaches, which is called sphalia with a capital C. So I was thinking, yes, it's something very specific. So this is very serious headaches, chronic headaches you can have, especially if you are working in the oil field. You are more likely to have these symptoms. So that's how I was inspired, and yeah. And also, to add a little bit more, so I was aware of that the gender inequality in Albania, even in a generation of youth, you know, very like me or even younger. So I put these two things together to come up with this idea about the film.
Femke, the main protagonist within this film is a young woman, and there are so many captured within the 8 minutes of this film. There are so many different themes which have cropped up into it. And Heijin, I know you've already touched on some of them, but for Femke, from that generation where it's the protagonist, but also when we're talking about youth and film. When you watch Kefalia, thank you. When you watch a film like that, what kind, for yourself, living in a place like the Netherlands, what kind of themes resonate most with you?
Yeah, I think that environmental pollution and the result from that is climate change, is something that very much worries everyone, and especially younger generations. And luckily, the COVID pandemic has really, it has started a change in people's thinking, as it has emphasized that the way that we treat our planet has serious effects on our health. But unfortunately, some people still feel like climate change will only have most of these effects in the future, even though its health implications are present right now at this day and age, as is shown by the film. But when with people living in more privileged areas like the Netherlands, we don't experience these issues to the same extent as people in Albania might. And the people who live in the more underprivileged areas, who are more vulnerable, they often contribute at least to these environmental pollution and to climate change, but they often suffer the most. And that's a great disparity that definitely gives the viewer some food for thought after watching this film.
Mina, you're part of Dutch Global Health Film Festival as well. And as a film critic and as a theater critic, you've seen, goodness knows, I'm sure, hundreds and hundreds of films, as well as documentaries and shorts, such as this one. What kind of impact do this kind of filmmaking make from your experience?
Right. Well, if we're talking about the acceptance of the films, I do think, and I think you would probably agree, that fiction films are way more popular and acceptable in the general population, and maybe also among the youth, than documentary filmmaking. And in that sense, I would say that with fiction filmmaking, you can probably reach further in the society and tackle topics that would be then seen by people that you wouldn't maybe be able to reach with documentary filmmaking. However, I do have to say that that is changing, and the film industry in general is changing with the introduction of the streaming platforms. And Netflix, for example, is the platform where you can see numerous different documentaries, some of them tackling the topics of health. And they are watched by people who are usually not really into documentary filmmaking and who would maybe never come to a documentary film festival, but they would watch films on Netflix. Now, speaking of the shorter forms, I think shorter forms in general are accepted as a way to the feature-length filmmaking. But if we're talking about youth, I would say that in the 21st century, in 2021, youth is accustomed to shorter forms. If we're talking about social media, TikTok, that is all one or the other form of filmmaking. So in that sense, short forms are essential, I would say, for the youth, but not only for the youth. And finally, speaking of fiction shorts, such as the one we have here, what really resonated for me was the three topics that I have recognized in the film as a health researcher. And one of them is as Femke was mentioning, the pollution, not just air pollution, but water pollution and so on, and the ignorance of the government with regards to the pollution and health. Then second, the failure of the health system, which is not equally available apparently to everyone, for example, in Albania, as we were able to see in this film. And then third, the importance of acting early when it comes to all sorts of medical issues. So those were the three topics that I have noticed as a health professional in Cefalia.
Thank you for that. Now, you've highlighted something I was wanting to ask about, which is in the last several years, we've really moved on to the age of watching films on our mobile devices. Watching films without sound and just using subtitles, but also watching TikTok and now, of course, Twitter and Instagram and of course YouTube being the really the introductory platform for something like this. Now, as a filmmaker myself, I get put under a lot of pressure to say, we want to make a film, but it has to be 1 minute or less, because that's what we have been told the attention span is of people. Additionally to that, and I'm speaking as someone who is of a completely different generation than you, all three of you, is that the youth nowadays have, quote unquote, no attention span, so you have to make things short and snappy. So, Heijen, as a filmmaker yourself, have you ever been put under pressure, or have you thought of, we have to keep things really, really short for either this particular market, or that's just the way filmmaking is going now?
I'm not that experienced. I don't have so many experiences about filmmaking, but it's true that there are many festivals which let you apply for the project less than 3 minutes, less than 1 minute, and in this case it was less than 8 minutes. So I re-edited my film. Basically, it was 10 minutes, and I edited a bit, and it was not a total difference. There is not so much difference, but still 2 minutes less. So yeah, it's a kind of true, but I mean, this is a limit, but at the same time, you need to make another storytelling in a limited times, and it's challenging, but at the same time, you can create something, in a limited times, and to be able to be shown to the large audience, I guess.
Femke, as the youth delegate going to the World Health Assembly, but also as somebody who enjoys filmmaking, is it fair what I said, that youth, and I'm using that term very sort of broadly, have a limited attention span and we should be making our films shorter and shorter?
I have to disagree with the fact that youth have an attention span of only 1 minute, but I do agree with the point you make that if you want to reach youth, you have to use the way they communicate and the tools they use for communication. So that means putting films on YouTube or TikTok. But then again, if you want to tackle a very extensive health problem, 1 minute isn't enough to capture the problem. So you can maybe extend it to a couple of more minutes or a longer film. So yeah.
Before we move on to the next film, Heijin, with this film, do you have any future plans for it?
I am now writing the new script, and yes, I mean, it is just a pre-production stage, and it is something, the subject is more personal and stories with what I have been through. So yeah, I cannot really mention more about this for the moment, but yes, I'm working on this.
Fantastic. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I would like to move on to the second film that we're discussing today, and we're going to change the subject matter on this just slightly and move from the filmmaking, but more to the influence of film and the arts itself on health. Mm-hmm. And this is a film which was produced by the World Health Organization Regional Office for Europe, and it's about a young woman in Sweden, Silja, and she has lived with schizophrenia for as long as she can remember, and she hears sounds that don't exist, like people opening and closing doors, and knocking on the door when there's no one there. Now, when a psychologist suggested that art might help, it transformed her life. Now, this short film is titled Arts and Health Stories, Silja.
Jeg heter Silje Marie Ros. Og jeg har PTSD, DID og schizofreni. Og schizofreni er at du føler, ser ting og hører ting som egentlig ikke er der. Det er ikke så enkelt å leve med det, men schizofreni har jeg levd med så lenge jeg kan huske. Jeg hører ting egentlig ganske ofte. Jeg hører jo folk banke på dører og sånn. Og så går jeg til døra, så er det ingen der, så blir jeg så nervøs for om de allerede har kommet inn, eller jeg blir så nervøs for. Jeg snakket med en psykolog som sa at kunst kan hjelpe mot all angst og all sånn stemmer og sånn. Det kan få deg til å føle deg bedre. Kunsten min, det er en ganske stor del av det jeg ser og hører av de stemmene. Det blir på en måte en karakter som jeg maler. Det blir som at jeg har et bilde på de stemmene jeg hører. Jeg ser en liten jente som er rundt 8-9. Hun bestemmer seg ikke hvor gammel hun er, men hun er rundt her. Hun ser egentlig sånn ut. Både med blodårer i ansiktet og svart hår og tomt, eller sint blikk, eller hva jeg skal si. Jeg ville anbefalt for alle å begynne med kunst, fordi kunst er en måte du kan frigjøre all den angsten man har. Kunst og maling har hjulpet meg til at familie og venner kan bli bedre kjent med meg, at de skjønner litt mer hva jeg går gjennom. For det er egentlig den eneste måten jeg kan uttrykke meg selv, som jeg vet om.
Det er så for verdensberømt at det er skrik, da.
Jeg tror mest maleriet handler om angst for de to som står bak der.
Ja, det virker ut som det. Det løpet fra dem to der som henne har gjort, dem har gjort henne nå kanskje på en eller annen måte. Er det du tenker?
Ja. Det er liksom ingen regler for kunst. Du kan lage hva du vil. Kunst har gitt meg et språk og har gjort meg veldig selvstendig i forhold til det jeg var før. Og kunst har gitt meg veldig mye glede i livet.
So I hope you have had an opportunity to see this film. And Mina, I'm going to come over to you as I say, as a doctor, as a health researcher, epidemiologist, but also from the point of view of filmmaking. This kind of filmmaking, as it's sort of juxtaposed against what we saw with Hagen's film, this being more a documentary or more a biography of an individual. Does this kind of filmmaking tell a story that needs to be told? And do you think this kind of filmmaking has impact in changing people's perceptions of health?
Absolutely. This is kind of a film that has its place. It's very short, but it's very informative. It tells us about a whole transformed life, and it also informs us as spectators about how it is to live with schizophrenia, and also about the power of art. And in that sense, there is something meta-artistic, so to say, in this film, because we're watching the power of art, which is told through the power of film as art. And I would actually also go back to what... Oh, sorry, we had a delay. I would also like to go back to what Femke was saying about the length of the films and about the attention span and so on. I would say that also youth needs some sort of education to build their watching experience and to build themselves as spectators. And it is absolutely fine if the attention span is low and if we start with shorter forms, and as we grow old, we easily can prolong them. And the topic of the film that we have just seen could be told as well as a feature-length story. And film offers numerous ways to tell one story, and they're all equally important, I would say. So this short film is probably as important as a feature-length film on the same topic would be.
Femke, you are a medical student. Has the topic of arts impacting health ever been raised through your education thus far, or has that ever been discussed?
I have to say that using art in order to promote health has very marginally been addressed during our medical education in the Netherlands. So when I watched this film, I came to the realization that even though arts have proven to be very effective in treating both physical and mental problems, in my experience, actually very few practicing healthcare professionals actually actively suggest their patients to participate in arts, even though it's proven to be effective. So I think we need to strengthen its place as being a credible additional treatment, and films like this will help in doing so.
We have a whole series of these short films about arts and health, and I was hoping we actually had one which explored filmmaking per se. But I've heard this wonderful story, actually one we haven't made yet, which we would love to make, which was about a choir who have breathing difficulties. So the doctors told them, you should join this choir because it helps practice with your lungs, and then it also brings people together as part of a community. Hagen, as far as when you are going through the process of filmmaking, obviously there's the artistic side to it. But do you find there are, for lack of I was trying to find a fancy way of saying this, but it's actually, are there health benefits for you as an individual when you are exploring art such as filmmaking?
Oh, this is a difficult subject. I have never thought about this, yes, but while listening to your question, yes, I think, yes, it is. I have a benefit because I don't have very serious health problems. Yes, I can say that I am, yes, I have some kind of benefits about that. I mean, on filmmaking and yeah. I don't know if my answer is good enough.
Of course, everybody's answer is great. No, I'm curious because I know for myself as an artist, whether it's creating a film or playing a piano.
Okay.
Sometimes people say, "Why do you play the piano?" And it's like, it's for my head, it's for my mental health.
Oh,
It
yeah,
helps
okay.
me.
Okay, yes, but I mean, even if I don't have some very serious disease, but I mentioned about my next project. I am in script writing, and I said to you that it is very personal. It is about my personal and emotional and a bit traumatic experience that I have been through. And by writing the script, actually, I felt like it cures me a lot. I mean, I faced the memory that I had before, and in a way, I mean, I let something go from deep inside of me. And yeah, I mean, the health doesn't need to be very serious and you know, in a level of disease. You know, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Mina, when we are looking at all of these different subject matters, I know when I am trying to make a video at the World Health Organization and people come to me and say, we need to make a video, my first thought is, what do you want people to do after they have seen this video? Right? Communication is about changing attitudes and changing impact. But I was thinking about this earlier and thinking, am I overthinking it? For you as both a film critic and a theater critic and who enjoys those arts, what is it that you want to get from a film or get from a theater production? Is it you want to learn something and change that, or is it just more emotive than that?
I want to feel. I think that's crucial. Having the sort of the emotional relationship between, for example, your protagonist and the audience is crucial for your audience to start caring about your protagonist and to start caring for the story your protagonist is telling. If you manage to make your audience care about your protagonist, about the problems you're depicting in your film, you're also going to be able to change at least thinking, if not behavior, of your audience, I would say. And there's one thing that you mentioned, and you said, I'm not sure whether I'm overthinking. I wouldn't say so. I think that when you're creating a piece of art, it needs to be really thought through. And sometimes, yes, you can rely on your gut feeling, but if you want to really communicate and to resonate to your audience, then you really need to think it through.
Thank you for that. Jen, I'm going to throw it right back over to you because we're talking about the filmmaking process. Let's say Femke here is decided, nope, she wants to now get into filmmaking because she's so inspired by this conversation. As somebody who is entering the filmmaking, maybe as a student filmmaker themselves, what advice would you want to give them?
Okay, as I told you before, I am not that experienced filmmaker. But I has been a film lover for a long time. But it took me so many years that I have this idea that I can make a film, because I was thinking that somebody who is very creative or talented can do that. Not me, but actually, if you express something and if you are interested in subject and you feel very passionate about this, then you are already ready, I guess. And I mean, nowadays, you can access very easily the camera, which is affordable enough, and the softwares, and you can learn from many like platforms, and including YouTube. So, I mean, just go for it, and you will have something.
And Femke, from the audience perspective on that, if a friend came to you or a colleague came to you and said, I want to make some filmmaking, from your perspective as an audience member, what advice would you want to give them?
I would want to give them the advice that when you're making a film, it's mostly about conveying the emotions and telling the stories to people, because that's what I think is the added value of making films, apart from just giving people facts and figures. Once you tell a story and get close to people and their homes, their families, and their lives, you're able to learn the people who view it to be compassionate. And that will eventually result in a positive change in the people who watch the film.
And I think that's an excellent place to end our conversation this afternoon. I would very much like to thank our panel, Femke and Ahejin and Minna. And to you, our audience, be sure to check out all of the films at this year's festival at the WHO website. And all of the films are also available on the WHO YouTube channel. And so for myself at the WHO Regional Office of Europe in Copenhagen, Denmark, and on behalf of all of the panel, thank you very, very much, and have a very good afternoon.
Thank you.
I draw as a way of imagining my mental health rather than mental illness. My name is Bill Doan. I'm an author, an educator, and a solo performance artist. I've been an associate dean at a large research university across the globe. Spent a year as the president of the association. I was even inducted into the College of Fellows of the American Theatre. My name is Bill Doan. From all outward appearances, I was a confident, self-possessed person. But inside I was slowly dying.
Like most people with anxiety and depression, I learned how to keep my secret. I thought the problem was me. I was different and not good enough. I was weird. As I got older, I felt angry. It got harder and harder to keep my secret. When it was time to come out of hiding, I didn't know how. So I started drawing.
The images captured how I was feeling much better than any words I tried to use. After 3 years of making work, I felt a growing sense that I might actually come apart at the seams. Once I understood how good drawing makes me feel, I became intentional about drawing. I draw every day, and sometimes I'll just simply draw what I see: birds, flowers, landscapes, people, myself, to stay grounded in the here and now. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Now draw. Drawing can provide just the distraction your brain needs. So grab a pencil, a pen, a crayon, a piece of chalk, anything you can make a mark with. And then find some paper, any paper. Draw things you can see in the room. Draw things you see outside your window. Use more than one of the tools that you've picked up and make marks. Doodle, scribble, draw for at least 10 or 15 minutes. And don't worry what it looks like. Just do it. Your brain will thank you.
Oui, je t'ai mis une robe comme d'habitude, hein.
Oh, c'est vous qui avez refait mon livre, je devais le refaire.
Oui. Tiens, allez. Hop là.
Hey.
Vas-y, donne.
Attention, regardez qui arrive.
Papa, tu vas m'inscrire à la cantine, du coup, il faut pas que tu oublies, hein.
Mais non, mais j'oublie jamais.
Tu veux pas une tresse comme Elsa?
Non, mais je trouve pas de serre-tête assortie à ma robe.
Oh bah si, regarde.
Non, mais le bleu.
Oui, mais ça va. Hein.
Le bleu, c'est bon. Bon, c'est pas grave.
C'est pas bien grave.
Ouais, c'est pas grave.
Toutes les couleurs sont dans la nature, tout se mélange. Et du coup, en fait, ça c'est comme le marqueur. Les blancs, c'est ça?
Ouais, c'est de l'aventure en stylo.
Quelle aventure! Jamais de ma vie j'aurais cru qu'on allait peindre sur ma tête. Vas-y, comme tu veux. Ah mince, j'espère que je vais pas abîmer le... Ouais. C'est ça? Wouhou! Wouhou! Alors... Là, c'est le moment fatidique. Je me cache quand même un petit peu. Hein. Hop! Et hop! C'est bon? Oui. Voilà.
Et bien tes mains, tu veux faire bien tes doigts. Moi, tu peux remonter un peu si tu as envie de remonter un peu.
Non. Comme ça?
Non, comme ça. Tu sais, parce que vu que ta main, tu la mets comme ça, en fait, ça
aplatit. Voilà, comme ça.
Ouais, voilà, c'est mieux. Oui. Comme ça, bien fermer les doigts. Voilà, n'appuie pas trop non plus, parce que sinon ça fait... Voilà. Et baisse, tu les pousses bien vers le... En rond, comme ça, là.
Ouais, c'est bon, là?
Ouais, mais descends-toi.
Et essaye de te tourner. Alors, nous, on va changer un peu, juste pour la caméra, après.
Ouais. Ouais, là, c'est pas mal. Il faut juste que tu relâches un peu tes mains.
Voilà, t'es un peu... Et retourne-toi encore un tout petit peu.
Souffle bien. Et après, tu lèves la tête.
T'es bien dans ta peau, t'es bien dans ton corps. C'est beau là?
Ouais. Tourne un tout petit peu ta tête vers moi.
Pourquoi tu pourrais marquer alors
je me sens femme à cet instant. Toute ma vie, je me suis dit que je disais à ma mère, j'aurais trop aimé être un homme. Et finalement, aujourd'hui, tu vois, avec ce qui m'arrive, eh ben, je me sens bien dans ma peau de femme. Et voilà, le cancer du sein, ça représente bien la féminité. Et tu vois, ça m'arrive à moi aujourd'hui. Et à croire que c'est un message, tu vois. Je sais pas comment je dois le prendre. Mais maintenant, là, je me sens belle. Je cache ma poitrine. La féminité. Tu vois, donner la vie. La beauté. Tu vas faire des fleurs sur sa tête. C'est cool quand même d'être une femme. Donner la vie, ouais. Ça, c'est beau. Je crois que c'est la plus belle chose qui ait pu m'arriver dans ma vie. Et là, aujourd'hui, j'ai envie de représenter encore plus cette féminité. On a de la chance quand même d'être... Et j'ai donné naissance à 2 filles. Femme. Girl power, les filles. Et même si demain on venait à m'enlever ce sein, je pense que je serais quand même belle. Et femme. Tu vois, des fois, je me prépare à peut-être faire le deuil d'une partie de moi. On verra bien. Pour l'instant, il est là et j'en profite. Parce que dans la vie, il faut profiter finalement de tout ce qu'on a. Parce qu'à tout moment, on peut perdre. Ça fait partie de la vie. Mais ma vie, elle est belle. Donc là, je me sens bien. C'est cool.
Can you hear that? Silence is the most beautiful thing that exists in the universe. Silence is my only solace up here, 70 miles above the surface of the earth. Up here, I'm always contemplating, constellating my thoughts. Here I get to live out my childhood dreams of floating among the stars, witnessing the poetry of the universe. Breathtaking. On that note, my oxygen supply is the only thing preventing this suit from becoming a custom-built coffin. So much space before me and yet so little in this suit. Sometimes I feel like I'm suffocating in this prison, but it's all worth it for this view. Even when I'm back on Earth, I still find myself staring at the stars. Diamonds twinkling away in the night sky, always out of reach. It's so beautiful. There are no walls in space, no confines, no boundaries, and of course, no sound. only the universe and the quiet. When I was a child, I would look up into the night sky and observe the stars. I remember my favorite constellation was Gemini, because I shared this star sign with my brother. I steal a glance at the earth. It reminds me of a globe I've seen before. It reminds me of him. He wasn't exactly the typical kind of guy. He described himself as sort of a Robin Hood, except he never actually gave back to the poor. I knew what he was up to. I'd always turn a blind eye to it. I shouldn't have. He became very good at what he did. Fairly well seasoned. After each of his exploits, he'd regale me with stories of what he had done, the treasures he had taken. I was too caught up in the pursuit of my own dreams to advise him otherwise. He wanted to reach for diamonds. I wanted to reach for the stars. Literally. My memory isn't the best, yet I can't seem to forget what happened to my brother. The events of that fateful day, so long ago, crystal clear. This is what he told me. I had woken up hungry. I sat in my bed, listening to the noises outside. It was raining that morning. Pouring, actually. After breakfast, I got ready. That night, or should I say morning, I planned to pay a visit to a lovely old man who lived not far from me. A jeweler by trade, he obviously had an affinity for them. But there was no way anyone could appreciate diamonds as much as I. It was my lucky day. An open window on the second floor. My speciality. I invited myself inside, and that's when I saw them. Diamonds. They stared at me as they twinkled in the moonlight. In that moment, I must have spaced out. All it took was one small step for everything to go wrong. I had not noticed a metal globe on the shelf. I don't know how I knocked it over, but that is when my whole world came crashing down. And just like that, the silence I so relied on was shattered. The quiet, gone. I'd woken someone up. I still remember his gaunt face, wide-eyed and terrified as he saw me, a crowbar gripped tightly in his hands. And then he attacked. I didn't mean to do it. I would never intentionally assault anyone, not for the world. But as the adrenaline surged in my veins, something came over me. I picked up the globe and swung. I can't remember if I heard his scream or mine. But the next thing I knew was just that awful quiet. I knew it would be bars for me when I saw the red and blue lights flashing through the window. It truly was self-defense, but the court didn't see it that way. He was put away for a long time. Prison was not kind. I tried to cast my mind back to my childhood, searching for memories of playing with my brother back home. I tried to remember scampering down hallways, playing in cardboard boxes, and pretending that we were flying through the cosmos. I searched the recesses of my mind for corridors filled with noise and laughter, but all I can remember is silence. My mind is a funny thing. I think it tries to protect me from my past, but every now and then I remember everything. When I was a child, I would look up into the night sky and observe the stars. I remember that my favorite constellation was Gemini, because I needed to keep alive the memory of my twin brother, who died at birth. I hate that he left me alone. Silence is the most terrifying thing that exists in the universe.